Have you heard of Anchor? It's the podcast platform we use to bring you our episodes. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let us explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard across multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And the best part is that it's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Amber.
And you're listening to the AM Podcast. Okay, welcome back. We have a jam-packed episode today. We're going to talk about a couple comebacks and give a review of the 2022 K-drama Our Blues. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of spoilers in this episode. But let's just jump into the episode with our K-music picks of the week. Amber, what's your K-music pick of the week?
So for this week, I chose aespa's Life's Too Short. I really love the music video, but I really love the song, and the message is amazing. You know, it's just them doing them, living their best lives. So yeah, and yep, that's it. I really like that song.
Is this new? Is this new?
Yeah, it's on their upcoming album. That's I think July. You said July 5th.
I think July 7th because we're gonna discuss it. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's on their new album that's coming out.
Oh, cool. Well, mine is Untitled song "Future Perfect," which actually just came out today. I didn't even know that they were coming out with anything. Well, okay, no, it's a lie. I knew they were coming out with something because I did see like teasers, but I didn't realize it was coming out like today. So anyways, the song came out. It's really good. I like it. It's interesting. Okay, so it just came out today, and going through like YouTube and stuff, I like to look at like reactions. I'm gonna keep this short because it's like gonna be long. But going through like reactions and stuff, I saw a couple like channels have already made videos about how they're losing their focus or what happened to the vibe that they have for Fever. So this song has like some drill in it, which I guess I like drill. I'm starting to like songs that have more drill in it. I think it's called, I used to think, well, I thought it was more like a UK, I thought it was a UK thing, drill music, but apparently I think the UK drill music actually came from Chicago drill music. Anyway, so I'm not completely sure of like the history behind it, like where it came from, but it's a newer form of music to me, and I really like it. And so when I heard it in this song, I was like, oh, that's different, because you really don't, I can't think of any K-pop song that nowadays that has like that kind of drill beat in it. So I thought it was interesting. So anyways, I really like this song, and I think it's interesting how I tend to like the songs for Unhyphen that maybe other people don't like. I don't know. I guess I feel it the same way with like NCT. But I'm like, I don't get why people don't like them, because they're so good. When I first heard it, I was like, this is the song. And it was just so strange to me that people are making whole long videos about how, you know, it's not a great song and da-da-da-da. Anyways, this is going on forever. But basically, I like the song and y'all should check it out. That's it. Okay. So moving on. We have a couple comebacks that we're going to talk about. And the first one is J-Hope's comeback. Not even a comeback. This is really more like a solo debut, I guess, technically. Solo album debut.
Yeah, he just put out his single, and his album's coming out on the 15th.
Yeah, the 15th. So I guess I considered it a comeback because he had Hope World, but Hope World was like a mixtape and not really like, this is like an official debut. Anyway, so his single came out, which titled More. So Amber, what were your thoughts about More?
When I first saw it, I was completely shocked. Well, I mean, I was shocked because like I really wasn't sure what the like what sound he was going for this time around. I did feel like it was gonna be just like slightly darker based on like the teasers that he was putting out, but I didn't know how like quote unquote dark we were going. But like I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it really brought me back to like my childhood because it had like this like old school 90s rap feel in the beginning, but then also had like the rock sound from I would say like the early 2000s that I used to love listening to. So yeah, it just made me love it even more. Also I love scrolling through like social media, seeing everyone's like theories and how like the key was in the beginning and they're like, oh, he finally made it out the room. So I really love those.
Mm.
I think within the music video itself though, I don't know what it is with me, but I love when they use the effect of like things being frozen like
Mhm.
in the air. And I really loved it because when it finally came to J Hope and he was like with the band singing, it all came like falling down. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And so I really liked it. And yeah, I just really love the dark J Hope that we're getting because it's like slightly refreshing. I'm just like really living for it right now. And I think one last thing, I don't have this written, but I thought it was really interesting, and I don't know where this is going. That he like at the end he was boxing up the scene, like the whole basically the whole music video sets were in the box, and he was closing it. I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Where are we going with this? So I guess we'll know when more comes out. But yeah, that's all.
Um, yeah, I guess piggybacking off of what piggybacking is that a word? To piggyback off of what you were just saying, I I that was one of the things that I loved about this single. I love the whole the music video concept. You can see him opening the box, and then
Hmm.
like you said, the sets were in the box, and then he closed the box. I was like, that is just perfect, and it just made me really mad that we have to wait until July 15th. Well, at this point, that's the time
No,
of recording next week, right? So
no, wait, yeah, yeah.
I'm just mad because I'm just like I want to hear the rest of the songs right now. It was so good. It was just so good. The music video was just really well done, and I also like the freezing part. And I think it makes it more dramatic. Is what I was
Hmm.
gonna say. Like it just makes it that much more dramatic. I mean, the chorus was already like very jarring in like a good way, but it's like having the freeze and then like everything crashing. Yeah, I get what you mean. That's all I was gonna say. Um, but in terms of the song itself, I love the rap and rock fusion that he came out with. Um, and I feel like it's really different, not just for him, but I don't feel like I've heard the only thing, and maybe I just don't listen to a whole lot of music, which is, you can't listen to everything. But I think the only thing that seems kind of close to me with that for that, I don't know what I'm trying to say, was Run DMC and who was it? Run DMC and oh my god, was it Aerosmith?
I was gonna say, wasn't it Kid Rock or am I lunching? I
Did
thought it
they
was
do?
Kid Rock.
I feel like Kid Rock did do like a rock song with somebody. I don't remember if it was Run DMC though.
Oh,
I don't know. I think it was Eric Walk This. Basically, Walk This Way. Whoever did Walk This Way, that's what it kind of reminded me of. But maybe because that was just so distinctly like there was a rap and then there was rock. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I think that. But I think Kid Rock does. I mean, I feel like he raps in his songs too, just in general. Okay,
it
this
was
is bad.
Aerospace
Aerosmith.
Smith. Yes, sorry. What's wrong with me?
Okay. Anyways, I say that to say, to me, for me at least, it's a rare for me to hear these types of songs lately. Especially, I don't know. I feel like especially. No, I'm not gonna say that. I just feel like this was very different from anything that I've heard from J Hope, and it's a complete opposite from Hope World, and I'm also just really excited, I guess, about this new album. And I'm loving this darker side to him also. And my favorite line in this song is where he says, my work makes me breathe, so I want more. I was like, yes, yes. It just makes you even more excited for this album because it's like, what more do you have to offer? What more are you trying to show us? And yeah, I think that's all I was going to say. Loved it. Anything more you want to say about J-Hope?
Just looking forward to what else is to come. Ooh, and especially see him at Lollapalooza. First of all, I feel bad for all the people that made their Hope World outfits
Oh,
because
yeah.
he really flipped the script on them because it's super dark now. But I'm excited. I'm excited for everything.
I am too. Yeah, it made me want to go to Lollapalooza even more after seeing the scene because I was just like, I can just imagine like how people are gonna be like going crazy during the chorus. But it's fine. Can't go to everything. So, the next comeback that we're gonna talk about is Sunmi's comeback. So she had two songs come out, Heartburn and Childhood, but she had a music video for Heartburn. So I guess first of all, Amber, what are your thoughts about both of the songs?
First of all, I think it's weird that she called it a single, but then like there's two songs. I feel like we've had this discussion before where we're like, why is it called a single if they're gonna put out two songs?
Did she
But
do
like,
that with Tail?
it's fine. It's fine. She could do what she wants to. I like both songs. They both really gave me like the 70s vibes, which I really but it didn't feel like dated 70 vibes. Like it's like a modern version of it, so I really like that. And then I really just had a question, but for childhood, is she talking about like a love that she had when she was younger or something? Like I was trying to read the lyrics and I just like could not figure it out.
Oh, I think so. I read the lyrics, and it seems like she's talking about some love that she may have had a long time ago. And it seemed like she was reminiscing on that love. And then she
Sure.
was just like, if we met again today, would I do the same things or something like that? Or would I feel the same way? Anyway, so yeah, I think she's just reminiscing on someone
Okay.
in the past.
I wasn't sure if there was like an obvious meaning and then like a deeper meaning. You know how sometimes they
There
have lyrics
probably
like
is.
that? So wasn't sure. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I loved it all. I'm always I feel like I'm just love her stuff in general. So what are your thoughts?
Oh, um, yeah, I was just wondering because I feel like we had a conversation when Tail came out. 'Cause I feel like she did the same thing with that. Like it was like a single, but it had like two songs,
Mm-hmm.
and then she came out with like the actual EP. Was that before or after you? That was before You Can't Sit With Us, right? Sorry, the timeline is like getting blurry for me with
Yes,
some of these.
I believe so.
Okay, well, anyways, because I was thinking maybe that's like what's the same thing. Anyways, so I agree with like I love the 70s vibe. That tends to be that lately. That tends to be like her lane lately because I feel like her that EP she came out with and not so much Tail and the other song she had with I can't remember what the other song was right now, but I feel like this reminded me of something that would be on the EP she had.
The one with Can't Sit With Us.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
She
guess
did have that Sunny song.
yeah, and
The
also like
Sunny
Borderline,
Sunny, that one.
and I was also thinking of like Borderline. That was the one that's like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I was like this sounds like it could have been on there. Um, but it tends to be like her thing. Um, I think that's what I was gonna say about both of them. Like the songs itself, I liked them. I like you said, I just tend to I really just like her songs in general lately. Um, and I'm kind of sad. So she's going on tour, if you didn't know. But we're not gonna be able to go to like any of the tour stops because we have other things going on during that time. And I'm kind of sad that we're not going. But good
I thought
luck
they were
to
gonna try to go.
which day we're gonna try to go.
I thought she would go to Chicago one.
I thought you said that was too much. So basically, guys,
We
we
don't
are
know.
because we're actually going somewhere else, and so we were thinking about flying to Chicago and then flying from Chicago to our actual destination. I don't know. I mean, saying it out loud, I was just like, that seems like a lot.
It does. We don't know. We'll know when we see the tickets and they go on sale. That's normally what happens, and that's how it works with us. We're like, oh, we don't have to go, and then we're like, wow, if we can get tickets.
Exactly. Um, but anyways, so that's exciting that she's going on tour. And it would be nice to see. I just want to see her live. Anyways, back to the songs. I liked both of the songs. I think that's all I was gonna say. Anything more you want to say about the songs before we talk about the music video?
No.
Okay. What were your thoughts about the music video?
Um.
For Heartburn, sorry.
Oh, the theme very much gave me like a Black Widow vibe because it just seemed like everyone she was with, like all the men just ended up dying. And so I just thought that was crazy. Like she was just killing all her partners. Well, yeah, okay, whatever. He was, huh?
And I was just gonna say, is that what Black Widow did? Did she like kill people, kill her partners?
Well, like a Black Widow spider kills her partners after being with them.
Okay, so you're not talking. I thought you were talking about the Marvel character Black Widow.
Oh,
Or you
well,
didn't
no,
know?
I'm talking about like the spider.
Okay, the actual spider. Sorry, I thought you
Yeah.
were talking about the superhero that Scarlett Johansson plays. I was like, how does it remind you of Black Widow?
Oh, yeah, no. I
Okay,
don't even know
sorry.
who that is.
Okay,
I
sorry.
don't really watch Marvel. But yeah, it just gave me that like spider vibes. And I also think there was like whatever. I also think there was like a true crime lady person that like
Mm.
also killed her partners and they called her like the Black Widow killer or something like that.
Hmm.
Anywho, I might be wrong about that, but I feel like I heard that somewhere. So it gave me that vibe, and then also back with the '70s thing, very flower child, free spirited. Love the long hair. It's just, every concept looks good on her. Like I haven't seen a concept yet where I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have done that because I feel like there's been some other groups where I'm like, yeah, that's not for you. But with her, it's just like she makes it work no matter what, and I really like it. And yeah, so I just really just loved all her concepts, and especially this one. Um, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other videos she puts out. And that's all.
Um. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I guess I could see. I was trying to figure out. I guess that was my question for this video. I mean, well, okay. Well, first of all, I thought it was a gorgeous music video, and I thought the colors were gorgeous. I thought she looked gorgeous with the red hair and the freckles. It's like, ooh, that's different. Haven't seen her with red hair. Um, and so, and I also like. I mean, this one has nothing to do with like the storyline, but I just like the diversity of the men in the video. I mean, I know
Mm-hmm.
they all die, but I just thought it was nice that she included different ethnicities. And I don't know, it made me wonder where this was even shot. I don't know if it was like in the US or another country or if it was in Korea. I don't remember her, like, I don't remember news of her being here in the US
Mm-hmm.
lately because usually when they're like here for some event, that's when they'll like, do music videos and stuff. And so like you kind of know like, oh, they were here in LA for this, so it makes sense that they would have made a music video while they were here. Anyways, I was just wondering that like where this was shot because it was the settings were really pretty and there's such a diversity of men. I don't know.
She could have did it here, and she just flew. Because I know sometimes they'll just like fly to different locations, but to me, it would make sense for her to like stay on like the other side of the world because there's really pretty places. Like maybe she could have gone to. I would just say England,
Maybe.
but like there's like because she was in a few like old kind of architecture, so there's a
True.
good amount of that over there, and probably it's closer to Korea than the United States, but not me trying to get this logistically figured out in my head.
I was with you. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
But who knows?
Okay. Um, but yeah, my question was like, why do all of the men tend to die in her music videos lately? Because she killed someone in Tail, and then You Can't Sit With Us. the guy was technically dead. He was a
It was
zombie.
zombie.
And so I'm like, what does this mean? I'm just like, what does this mean? Like, am I missing something? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out why all the men are dying in her music videos. And the only guy who didn't die in this music video was the dancers. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was a rhetorical question or just like a question to be answered.
I don't know.
But also thinking about what you were saying about Black Widow. Sorry, when you wrote that, I was like, I don't see Scarlett Johansson in this.
There are two different Black Widows. At least I think it's called the Black Widow spider.
I mean, okay. I mean, then there's a spider called Black Widow Spider, and so, but when you saying that, maybe that's the concept that she's going for, where like a spider, the spider who kills after each partner or whatever. So that would make sense. Um, anything more you wanted to say?
Nope.
About Sunmi? Okay. All right. Well, those were our comebacks. Well, I don't know if J Hope's was okay, moving on. So now we're gonna talk about give a review of our blues. Um and again, like I said earlier, this is a spoiler alert again, that we're gonna be talking about pretty much a lot of what happened in the review or in the drama. So just want to let you know that. A quick synopsis before we get into our review. This series revolves around the sweet and bitter life of people standing at the end, climax, or beginning of life and depicts their stories in an omnibus format against the backdrop of Jeju Island. So, you know, one of the things that we like to do is, let you guys know whether or not we would recommend this to you before we get into the review, I guess. So, our first question is, would we recommend? And for me, I definitely would recommend it. Amber?
Absolutely. Especially if you like the slice of life genre, which I freaking love it so much. It's one of the better ones that I've seen because it's a little more, because I feel like sometimes with the slice of life they tend to like a little bit like over dramatize it at times, but this one was very much lifelike. So yeah, so definitely recommend it.
Okay. Um, so next we're going to talk about what we loved about the drama. So for me, I just think overall, and I guess this goes into also part of like why I would recommend it, but I just love how the drama reflects on different topics and people that are usually overlooked in society. And I don't really know about, okay, maybe I don't know about society, but I feel like at least in dramas, like a lot of the different people that were talked about, like the fishermen and the Henyos, I think that's how you pronounce it. Like I don't remember ever seeing, I mean, I haven't seen too many dramas in my lifetime as yet, but I don't really remember seeing any dramas where they're like the central figures, like the people who work in the fish markets, the people who um I already mentioned the Hanios. But like those types of people, and even like um the the storyline with the young Gok and her disabled sister, her sister with this with a disability, I guess. Like you don't really see them as central figures in dramas, at least not the ones that I've seen really. So I thought that was very interesting, and it's one of the reasons why I would recommend it. And it's also what I loved about it. Amber, what about you?
Yeah, that was one of my things that I loved about it, was that it did touch on like the sensitive topics that most people just kind of want to like look over. And it also made me wonder if like in Korea that stuff is more like frowned upon. Well, I feel like even here in the United States people still frown upon it, but I feel like I've seen so many shows where like they talk about like teen pregnancy. Like we have like Teen Mom, and
Mm-hmm.
like on TLC I watch Unexpected, which is about teen parents.
Hmm.
um and then we also have shows here that because um Young Oak's sister has Down syndrome, And like we've had a show here that just followed the lives of not children, they're adults with Down syndrome and their lives and what they face. And so I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it's in the spotlight a little more here, and so it just made me wonder if in Korea it's a little different just because of the way that some of the characters were acting about it. Especially okay, I'm about to go into a scene, but especially the part where like they were at the restaurant and the little boy was making fun of her and like the parents weren't doing anything. So it made me wonder if it was like more frowned upon there or just not often seen. But I also wonder if it maybe just wasn't often seen in like Jeju, and because like I guess that's, it's not like Seoul or anything. It's not like a major city. So I don't know if that changes. But again, I don't live in Korea and I'm not from Korea, so I really don't know these things. So that's why it's just like wonders. But I do like the fact that they did touch on like the teen pregnancy. They even slightly touched on abortion as well, and domestic violence also. Like there's just a lot of things that like, yeah, that you don't often see. Well, I don't know, domestic violence and abuse, you do see a good amount of that in other dramas, but it's just like all in one place. And it felt very like educational kind of, and not so much like just a piece of a story that's just like there to add drama to it. Like, so I really like that about the drama. I also loved how real and believable the drama was. Kind of like I mentioned before, like the slice of life, it really leaned towards more like the life side rather than the drama side. So I really like that. And I like how, yes, this drama was split up in multiple different stories, but it still felt very cohesive. And so that's what I loved about the drama.
Okay. I just wanted to say like one last thing because I was honestly sitting here trying to figure out which storyline had the domestic violence, and then it was the guy, right, and his wife.
Yes.
The guy,
the banker.
Yeah, the banker and his wife, and I think and I guess I will say that I do like that. Normally, I feel like in dramas we see domestic violence from like the woman's perspective, and usually she's the one like the victim in the situation. So it was really interesting. I mean, it's sad, but it's sad, but it was interesting to see it from like a the guy's perspective or their husband's perspective, and how it can affect men too. So that was an interesting take on it, and I feel like that part is probably more overlooked when people talk about domestic violence. I don't know, but okay. Sorry, I just wanted to add that because I was just like, what part was that? But then I just remembered. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if we should have done a trigger warning, but like trigger warning. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry. So now we're gonna talk about what we didn't like about the drama. For me, I don't know. I feel like I always hate this with these types of dramas, but I mean, and this is probably something I'm gonna say later on too. But I thought it was just a little bit slow. It took me a while to finish it. But I think that's just expected with these types of, I don't know, slice of life dramas, as you called them. That's one thing I didn't really like about it. I think I tend to move faster through, I don't know, maybe it's just my preference too, because I tend to move really fast through dramas that are more like, it's more like centralized around, I don't know, like a romance between two people or something like that. I tend to go through those like pretty quickly because I want to know what's next. I want to know how their relationship progresses. But these that are like very structured, like storylines, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is the end of this one. I'm gonna move on to something else and then come back to it because I feel like it's kind of resolved. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe it's just my preference, but I thought it was just a little slow. But that was it. What about you?
So there wasn't much I didn't like about it because I really love this drama, but I will say I was really mad that they had Kang Ok-dong die in the last episode, and that was the grandmother that had cancer. I knew it was gonna happen, but it still sucked, and I feel like I can't remember. It was the last show that we watched. Hometown Cha Cha Cha. That happened to like the grandma too, and I was just like, why did you wait so long? Why is she dying at the end? Like, I don't know. I didn't like it because I was sitting here like, is she really about to? Oh, this is what we're doing. Like, it's literally the end of the series, and this is what's happening. Okay, so that's like the only thing I didn't like. But like, it's also like you already knew what was gonna happen, but I still didn't like it. It just sucked. So yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like.
I think you just don't like the characters dying. I don't
Hmm?
know. I think you just don't like the characters dying.
Well, don't nobody judge me when I say this, but I was kind of happy when what was his name? Judante from Penthouse when he died. I was real happy when that man was out. Goodbye, sir.
Well, maybe I meant like old people and old people die because I felt like we all knew she was gonna die.
Yeah.
But like it made sense that they waited. I mean, they're literally her and her son's relationship things or story was at the end of the series. So she couldn't die before they did the relationship, like they
Which
did
would
the
be
reconciling.
fine. I just hated that they waited so like I don't know, maybe if their story was like a little bit like further in, it just
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because like at the point where she died, I was like, this is how it's gonna end. It's gonna end on a sad note. I mean, later we find that it really doesn't end on a sad note. They like lighten the mood at the end of it. But
Yeah.
when it happened, I was like, what the heck? No. So that's all.
Okay. Well, um, so now I guess we'll go into how we felt about the characters from the development, the role they played, and their personality, just in general, I guess. So Emma, what are your thoughts?
I thought the characters were well developed and written. I enjoyed watching each character like grow through their like issues or struggles or situations, and like I don't feel like anyone ever like regressed. I guess that's the right word. They just move forward and able to mature and become better people at the end of it. And I also loved how every character had a role or purpose and keeping the story going. And you can really tell that Jung Eun-hee was a person in like everyone's life on the island, and she was like really important. And I really think she's like the one character that really tied the entire story together because she was literally in everyone's story. Like there was not one time when she was missing from a story. And it's kind of like what Park Ji Hwan said. Like he had mentioned how she's like the pillar of the town, and if something were to happen to her, or if she were to like go away, like everything would just come crumbling down. And so it really showed like how important she was to the storyline, which you really felt through watching the whole thing. And then I really just wanted to mention that there were like two characters that really stood out to me throughout this whole thing. Well, like a lot of characters stood out, but like these were like the two that were like I was like, oh my god, I love. So I would say it was Lee Dong Suk. So he was the guy. If you don't know names and you watch this, he was the guy who sold the goods out of his truck. And I love how at first I thought he was just gonna be like a mean character with like a very short temper that was just like mean to everyone. But you just
Mm-hmm.
come to find out throughout the whole drama that's not how he is. He's actually a softie. He really cares about people, but just because of the life that he had to deal with in growing up, he just kind of had to always have this like tough exterior. So yeah, I feel like he was one of the ones that I saw kind of, I wouldn't say he grew from it all, but I feel like he kind of like slowly, you could see like, you know, his shell cracking, you could really see who he was. And then the second one that I really liked that stuck out to me was Park Jung Joon. He was the captain that took the Haenyeo out to sea to catch, yeah, took them out to sea. I loved how determined he was in his love for Lee Young Ok. Like he would like no matter how much she tried to push him away, he was like, nah, you with me. And like even when he was like, oh, like even when he knew that maybe his parents wouldn't like her, he still was like, yeah, I want to get married to you. Even when she was like, I don't want to get married, he was like, I'm marrying you. And I just thought it was so sweet. And even when he found out that her sister had Down syndrome, he was shocked at first. I'm not gonna lie, but he still stuck around. He was just a little taken back, and he was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So let me do what I need to do to get back on her good side. So I just really like that. So yep, that's all I had to say.
Well, Alan, I just want to agree with you about, I thought they were well developed. I think the two characters, well, the one of the characters, that you had mentioned, I also really liked, and it was Park Jung Jun. I really liked this character as well. He just seemed like Yoonhee. I definitely agree that she was definitely a pillar of the community, and I remember watching when I was watching her storyline with Miran, her friend.
Hmm.
I kind of felt bad for her in that, and I guess Hansu, because I felt because at first I was like, well, she doesn't have like a family, she doesn't have like a husband or kids or any or a partner or whatever with kids, and but when you really think about it, like she takes care of pretty much everyone in the community, and those are like her family members,
Hmm.
and and I don't know why. And I felt so silly for like even thinking that she was missing out on something, because she's really not missing on anything, because she had people staying with her, people that she took care of, and then she was taking care of them and making sure that they were okay, and like she's good. Um, so I don't know. I just thought she played a really. I guess wanted to agree. She played a really important role in the community. And she had a lot of people who cared about her. So yeah, but with Park Jung Joon, I just like. I mean, he just seemed very like. I just like how straightforward I guess he was.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, he was determined in like determined in no, you just said it. Sorry.
His love for.
Yeah, and his love for Jungkook, and like making sure that she knew that he wasn't going anywhere. But I just felt like also he was just a really good like friend. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
very pushy or whatever. Because I know he hung out a lot with Dong Suk. Um, when no one else, I feel like he and Dong Suk were the closest. Like in terms of Dong Suk's like relationships with other guys on the island, I felt like he and him were like the closest. And I don't know if part of that is because I feel like Jung didn't really talk a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he was just a very good listener, and he gave good advice when asked about it. Like I don't know, he just seemed very steady, and I think I just really appreciated that. Like he just seemed simple, but like not in a bad way. Simple in that he's not like sneaky or sly or like I don't know. I just really like that about him. I don't know if that was clear, but I
Yeah,
just
what?
okay.
Or at least to me, maybe it's because I watched the drama, so I actually know what you're saying. But
Okay.
yeah.
Like he just seemed like a simple like country guy who was very content and very happy with where he was in life, and very like I'm gonna marry her and I'm gonna do this, and that's just it. Like he wasn't greedy. Like I felt like the banker Hansu, he was like pretty greedy in my I mean, okay, I'm not gonna talk about that because I don't even know if that's accurate, because he was greedy, but he was greedy for like a good reason. So I guess that's sort of different. But closing out my what I was gonna say, I liked him. That's all. Oh, and I guess because I guess the two characters that you mentioned were also the two that really stood out to me also. So I'm like, but I did think that Lee Dong Suk also had the most drastic change in development, in my opinion. And I don't know if it's because, like we said earlier, his relationship with his mom took place at the end, literally at the end of the
Yeah.
series. So for the majority of the series, he did seem like a meanie. Like he did seem like he didn't want to be bothered. And part of the time, I was like, why are you even here on this island? You should have just stayed in Seoul. If you don't like anyone, if you don't want to be around your mom, you don't want to be around these people, why are you even here? But but towards by the end, you saw him. Okay, well honestly I feel like it was when the Minna son I called her by her name too. Sona Min Sona. I think that's it. Okay. I think that's her name.
It is. It's Minsona.
Okay. I feel like when she started getting into the storyline, I feel like we started seeing a little bit more of the human aspect of him. Like, oh, he's not just like this cold hearted like person who wants to be cut off from everyone.
Hmm.
And then, you know, and then we also see him like he was nice to to the people like throughout, like towards the end. But anyways, I guess my point is he went through a big change, and that's all I was gonna say. Okay, anything more you wanted to say?
Just one more thing about Dunsuk. He also isn't he like the I could be mistaken, but is he the only character that had like two storylines? Because he had that moment with Sona, and then he
Mm-hmm.
also has that moment at the end with his mom.
Well, Yoonhee also had the storyline with her best friend and with the
Oh,
banker
that's
in the
right.
beginning.
So it's just those two.
I think so. I can't
Hmm,
think of anyone else.
that's interesting. Sorry, I just thought that was interesting. It just popped in my head.
Hmm.
That's all though. Oh wait, no, one more. Wait, no, that's it. Nope, I'm done. We can move on.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
All right. I feel like we kind of already started talking about this. It's hard to talk about. Okay, well, so next section or part of our review is that we're going to talk about our opinion on the relationships. But honestly, we already started talking about this because it's difficult to talk about the drama without mentioning the relationships because that's what the whole drama was really based on, the relationships with each other. Um, but I guess for me, something that was interesting in the drama to me is that I love that how like with each relationship there was a resolution at the end of each of their like 2-3 episodes, I guess. Um I just felt like there wasn't anything that I was yearning to know more about. Like with Yoonhee and the banker, I think his name is Hansu. I don't know, but anyways, with the banker, like at the end of their like section, like he goes back to wherever he came from outside of Jeju with his family, and his daughter comes back from overseas, being overseas, and he basically got in his head that you know she doesn't need to how do I say this? Because they were pretty miserable overseas,
Yeah,
basically.
it's super miserable.
And for some reason, I felt like, well, I guess part of it was that he felt like he would have been a bad father if he didn't do everything that he could to help her make what he thought were her dreams come true or happen, I guess. But it was also breaking, like literally breaking their banks and breaking, like they were going broke
Yeah.
doing this. So it's like, at what point is it enough? And so, anyways, at the end, they she came back from and things seemed to be getting better and there was a resolution. I guess that's all I was gonna say. I still to say there's a resolution at the end of that. Like it did I wasn't like, oh, is something else gonna happen? Like no. Like I feel like I kinda knew it was gonna happen. Um and there are other examples, I guess, with the other characters where the same thing happened. Anyways, and I also thought that each character was how did we already mention this? I'm not going to mention this again, but I guess the new part that I'll mention is that I did think it was interesting how even the characters who weren't from Jeju, like Miran and Hansu, they still had like a connection to not just that they had a connection to the people on Jeju, but I thought it was interesting that when they came back and they like kind of resolved their issues, which you kind of talked about already earlier, resolved their issues on Jeju, like it made them better people
Mm-hmm.
for even when they left Jeju, and they still like we saw later in the like pretty much the end the last episode that they still came back to visit them on the island. I just thought that was interesting because I don't feel like I've seen that a lot in dramas. Like usually when people leave their hometown, they just leave. I don't know. But and then they don't necessarily I don't know that they necessarily leave like better people. I just felt like they had something going on in their life. They came to Jeju, they figured out they some whatever was wrong with them, and they became better people as a result of whatever they went through on Jeju. And so I thought that was interesting. Um yeah. And I think that's all I was that's those were all my thoughts. What about you, Ever?
um I love the way these relationships were written, and you felt like the closeness of the community, which I feel like I like any drama that really has like a community aspects where everyone's like really close. Because that's also one thing I really loved about Hometown Cha Cha Cha. I think I might have even mentioned that when we reviewed it, but but I just really loved how close knit the community was, and how they were all dependent on each other, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like one sided or like toxic. It was like a mutual dependency, which kind of kept the town and just like how just kept it all running, which was really necessary. So I really like that. I think one relationship that really stuck out to me was the friendship between Hyun Chun Hui and Kang Ok-dang. I thought that was so precious. Which I feel like you don't often see relationships in depth like that. Like this one, like a relationship that has lasted so long to the point that like they were older and you could tell they still had like a strong bond. And I just thought that was just like so nice because it's just like, oh, like you see, like I don't know, I just feel like we only see that in K dramas, like a glimpse of it, and majority of the time like the big friendships are focused on like the younger characters within it. So this was nice to
Mm.
see some highlight on the older characters. Like I don't know, I feel like this drama has like a little bit of something for everyone, no matter how old you are, how young you are. It just made sense. um and then another thing with the relationship, I wish I could have seen a little more of the relationship between Park Ki Jun, which is the brother of the captain, and Byul E. I think that's how you say her name. She's the one that sold coffee in the market, and she was, I don't know if she was half, if she was fully, I think she was deaf.
I think she was deaf.
Okay. I couldn't tell if she was like partially deaf or fully deaf. But yes. I wish I could have seen their relationship blossom a little more. Like, did they end up together? Because even at the end when they were at the competition, she still was like trying to play hard to get. And so I just wanted to know if they ended up together because I thought they would be so cute. And yeah, so that's just how I felt about the relationships.
Okay. Well, now we're gonna move into what we thought about the storyline. What did you think about the storyline, such as the progression or the pace or other thoughts in general?
I thought the storyline was great. I don't know. I just really love this drama. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, I just really love it. And I love how it had like a perfect balance between happiness and sadness. I feel like there's not a lot of dramas that can do that. Like sometimes when you watch dramas, it's like, ooh, this is really heavy. And they might throw a little bit of like comedy in there to lighten it up, but you just still feel the heaviness. But this one, it really did a good job at keeping a balance. And I don't know if that's because, like, you know, I feel like I mentioned this earlier where like you saw like everyone go through their journey and you saw how they matured from it, and you and Melissa mentioned how there was always a resolution at the end of it. So I feel like there was a majority of the time there was like a happy resolution at the end. Sometimes it wasn't a good one, but I mean a good one, or like it was just a really sad one, but it was like a nice balance, and that's something that I really appreciated. Um Also, I never skimped through any of this drama at all. I
Oh
just love
wow.
watching it from beginning to end. Um, if you listen to one of our older ones, I have said this about another show, and like often I tend to just like fast forward through things because I'm like, I need to know what happens. I don't have time to sit here and listen to the dialogue. What happens? I'm bored. I never felt like this watching this show, and I just really love, just to me, I mean, this is probably where Melissa and I disagree, but I felt like it was like a perfect pace for the show. Like I felt like nothing dragged on. It wasn't slow to me, but I don't know. I liked it. And then I felt like with the multiple stories, you never got lost in the storyline, which I feel like sometimes happens. Because sometimes when people try to do this like fancy multiple storylines happening at once or multiple storylines throughout the whole thing, I'm like, okay, but wait, who's who? Like, why is this happening? What's going on? But they did very good at like saying, this relationship we're focusing on. Yes, there's going to be other characters and you may see parts of their story, but you'll know that this is the part that's being highlighted at this moment. And I really love that about this drama. And yep, that's all I had to say about the storyline.
Yeah, I did mention earlier I did think it was kind of slow. Um but I do agree that each storyline did connect to the other, and like you said, kind of overlapped a little bit into each other's, but it wasn't confusing. And I also, I kind of, I mean, typically I skip the intro for like every show I watch on Netflix, but I did like how in the intro, whoever was being focused on in like that episode, they played like a montage, sort of, kind of. I think part of it was like animated, but they played a montage of the characters that are going to be focused on in that specific episode. So I thought that was nice. Not really anything to do with the episode itself, but I just thought that was really nice that they the and shows the writers, or not the writers, the I don't know, the people behind the scenes, shows the attention to detail that they took, so that the watcher or the viewer, so the viewer isn't like confused about what's going on. um so yeah, I mean, you pretty much said everything else that I would have said. So yeah. Okay, moving on to our favorite scenes. I had a few. So I really liked when the young couple, Youngju and Hyun, decided to keep their baby, and they were like in the rain, and it was all slow mo, and they were all happy. I was like, oh my god, because I was getting real nervous for a second, because
Mm-hmm.
I really thought they were gonna go through with the abortion. Well, I know from the beginning. By the way, like I didn't mention him earlier, but Hyun, his full name Jungkyun, I guess it's his full name.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a. I feel like he's. I mean, hopefully. I mean, they're still young, so you don't know what's gonna happen in the future. But in the moment, he's just a really seems like a really great guy. Like,
Yeah.
if there was anybody she could have a baby with, I was just so glad that it was him, a guy
Mm-hmm.
like him.
Mm-hmm.
He was just so excited from the beginning. Well, I think he was nervous. I think they were both really nervous, but eventually they were both just like he was the one who really wanted to keep the baby from the beginning. She was the one who was like, this is gonna mess up my schooling and da da da. Just want to get rid of it. And we had mentioned kind of earlier that like it seems like teen pregnancy is kind of a taboo topic, I guess, in Korea. So it kind of is here too, but like you said,
Yeah.
we have shows here, and we had, I feel like you said, it's highlighted here more, so I guess I don't feel that it's as taboo here for us, because there's like literally shows about it, and there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of teen moms, and like they're all over social media too. Well, maybe not all over, but I know that there's some like teen moms who have like YouTube channels and
Yeah.
document their journey as a teen mom. Anyways, so but the way that they reacted in this drama to young the character how the characters reacted to her pregnancy, it just made it seem like it was like a terrible thing, like really really terrible, like you might as well just, I don't know, do something else, I don't know. But um so anyway, so that was one scene that I did like, when they were in the rain. I think it was the rain, and just the fact that they're
Mm-hmm.
keeping the baby, and it just made me like really happy. The other one, so this was, I can't remember if this was the same episode or probably the next episode. I don't know, but basically, I like the part when Jung Kyung's father, who's Jung Ingwan, he had a breakdown in like his factory, I guess, or wherever he made his sundae, and he was just like crying, like, this was after they had like the big fight, where his son, like, did he kick him or push him? I think he pushed him in the street or something. That was a lot.
It
And
was.
and then he had a breakdown, and he was like, what did I do? I tried to do everything to be a good father to you. I used to be a gangster, and he was just like pouring his heart out. I was like, oh my god, like this is just. It was so emotional, and then he came behind his father, and he like hugged him and comforted him, and then it was just like, wow, like that was just, I don't know, just I just feel like that was the first time that I really saw Ingwan in particular like really vulnerable, because I feel like throughout he really gave off this very tough guy. I mean, he plays a gangster character really well. I could
Mm-hmm.
see him being like a gangster in a drama, because that's literally how he felt to me. And it's just like that was the first time I saw him like really, really vulnerable, and it was very emotional. There's so many emotional moments. Um, so that was the second one, and the third one, this one broke me. I think I cried this entire episode. I don't know why. It was just a lot for me. I don't know. I guess because okay, so the third one is basically when Jungkook saw all the drawings that her sister did. So
Mm.
Jungjoon had put the sister's pictures all over his like not trailer. I don't know what it was called. RV.
Bus.
Yeah, I guess a bus. Okay.
I think it was literally a bus.
Okay. So all around his bus, and she just like looked at them all. She started crying, and it was just so. I think it was so. It was kind of sad because the whole time, I don't know. I think I cried that episode because I can't even imagine what it must have been like to lose your parents at 12 and having to take care of your disabled sister literally for the rest of her life. She's going to take care of her. And it made sense as to why she kept going further out and wanting to dive longer and to get as many as she, I think they were fishing for like abalones, to get as many of those as possible because she needed money to take care of her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh my God, like she's only 38 and like they still have like years together. Like, I don't know, she's basically taking care of a child, like her own child, and she's been doing it really since she was 12. And I don't know, I think maybe that burden of responsibility just got to me because it's like I could barely take care of myself. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but these are like people's like real lives, and just like I don't know, like it just got to me. But then not just that, it's not why also why I cry, but I think this scene for me was just like really emotional because throughout this episode or throughout their storyline, Youngkook just always seemed kind of like she made it seem like her sister was such a burden. And like her sister's been telling her, oh, I'm an artist, I can draw like our parents can. And she was just like, oh, no, you can't. And she was just basically like, it seemed like she just wanted to get rid of her, honestly, the whole time she was there in Jeju. And I feel like when she saw those pictures, um, I wonder, I was just wondering, and she kind of alluded to it, but I feel like she was crying because she realized how bad of a sister she probably had seemed during that week there. Because she even said like when she asked her sister, how did you become so good at drawing, and she said that she just started drawing whenever she was thinking of Yongo because she missed her so much. And it's like it's sad to think about because it's like she became like a great artist because she missed you because you didn't want to talk to her and you didn't want to like you didn't really show that kind of sisterly affection that she wanted, I guess. So that part was sad. But I liked it. But it was my favorite scene because it was like the realization was like all coming to her at once, and those pictures were amazing because I was really wanting to see the pictures. I hate when they did this. I hate when they like gave you like a teaser of what was to come in the
Mm-hmm.
show,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to wait like 2 episodes to actually see what they were looking at, or to I don't know, that kind of made me upset because I'm just like, can we just get to it? But so I guess that should actually have gone under things I didn't like about the show. But it only happened like twice for me. But yeah, it was when I can't remember what the sister's name was, but it was when she was showing the captain her pictures, and like we couldn't see what he was seeing, but we saw that he was impressed, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see what he was seeing. Um, but anyways, so that's kind of okay. That's I kind of went on a tangent with that one, but that's like that scene, and then the last scene that I had, um, I just like the whole episode, which is not really a scene, when Dong Sok was taking his mom on that trip through like her memories, I guess, like taking her back to where she grew up, and um, I still don't know why they went to the memorial service. Like, what was the purpose? I don't know. But I just like that they went on that trip together, I guess, and I also liked that she wasn't actually dead when he came back down from the mountain
Yeah.
because I really thought she had died in that cafe. I was like, no, she has to see the snow covered lake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad she wasn't dead. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Um, but yeah, that whole episode was just nice because you could see them starting to bond again. or bond in general. They never bonded in the first place, so they were bonding. That's it. That's all I was gonna say.
So I just want to mention on the last one that you just talked about with his mom, girl, when she was in that cafe, let me tell you, hold on. Sometimes I get really anxious about some of these things. So I had to pause it and I just like, fast forward just a little to see if she lifts her head up or something. Because I couldn't take it. I was like, I can't take this. I have to just see. I just have to see if she's okay. And then when she was, I was like, oh, okay, I can finish watching this.
No,
And
I
I
get it.
also, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like I get it because there were a few times during that trip where she like knocked out. I was like, oh my god, did she die in the car? Anyways, okay.
I'd be so worried. And then also I wanted to go back to you talking about Jungkook, and I was wondering if like it's kind of her character to me was weird when it came to her sister because I do feel like she really loved her. Like she would like even with okay, I had mentioned the whole like she got in a fight, like the little boy was making fun of her in the restaurant, and I was like even then she was still there to protect her sister. Where I feel like if she really didn't care, she wouldn't have said anything or whatever. So I don't know. With her character, it was kind of like I was like, dang, how can you treat your sister this way? But then I was also like, I guess I could understand too why she might have felt like some sort of resentment towards her sister because she couldn't really live her life like it's like I guess like in like someone that doesn't have a sister with Down syndrome or doesn't have that responsibility of taking care of them would have. And just kind of like you were mentioning, like, I barely take care of myself. How can I take care of somebody else? Like, I still be like, Mom, I need help with my insurance. Mom, can you help me like with this? Like, I couldn't imagine having to not only take care of me and someone else. So, yeah, that's all I want to say about that. But moving on to my favorite scenes, I also have a few. So, I'm going to try to go through these. But one of my favorite scenes was when the high school couple Youngju and Junghyun, well, I guess that's his last name. Whatever. Those two, the high schoolers, when they were allowed to stay in school because their classmates like agreed to it and they were like rooting for them. I feel like that's so nice because like the adults were like, no, you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all aren't allowed to be here. You guys were the president and vice president, and you guys are supposed to be the perfect example. And what example are you going to show? Well, all the kids were like, we don't care. Let them do it. Like, let them be great.
I was just wondering if that's more of like a and I was wondering if that's like a more of a generational thing
Maybe.
because the kids, like you said, like here, like people like our age, like we've like even growing up, we had like teen mom and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if it's a generational thing, and also I wonder like if they had said no, their storyline probably would have turned out a lot differently and not as happy is what I was
True.
thinking. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah.
Yeah, it could be. You're right because you and I we went to school. Like there were some people in high school that like were pregnant, and I feel like there was one time when I even saw someone bringing their kids to school with them.
Hmm.
I feel like that happened, but I feel it was like only for like a few classes or something, and then someone can pick them up. But it might be like a generational or even just like a cultural or like area thing because like who knows that like maybe in Jeju that like people would not be okay with that, but somewhere else they might have been okay with that in Korea. But I also know that here in the United States is really going to tangent. I'm very sorry, but I also know that there's youth there's some school. I even think they actually I could be wrong because I feel like they also mentioned it in the show, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there are schools that are meant just for teen parents. Like
Hmm.
they can go to school and they really focus on like just teen moms and like I don't know how the curriculum works, but there's like schools that are just for that. I know I can't remember if they mentioned it in the show, but I know here in the United States there is because I saw it on. I used to be obsessed with Teen Mom, so I saw someone talk about it on Teen Mom, so they had that. But
Okay.
yeah, I just really like that scene because I was like, yes, for your classmates for sticking up for you guys,
Yeah.
and it also showed that like they're just like amazing people. They're like you can show just how nice they are, and even though she was kind of mean, but she was nice. Like he saw the sweet side of her, and so that made you even love. I don't know, I just love them so much, and they brought their parents back together. like their dads. I was like, ah, okay. Anyways, sorry, fangirling over this whole thing. Like their storyline was one of my favorites. Um, so the next thing I wanted to say was it's not a happy scene, but I feel like it was just like a moment well done. When they were giving okay when they were giving a visualization to what depression was like for Min Sona, I feel like it was the first time I've seen like a visualization of it paired with like the description, because normally in these shows they're like, oh yeah, they have depression and they feel this way, but to actually like see what she experiences, it was like, oh, like wow, okay, I get it, like it really hits you a little more. And so yeah, I just like kudos to, is it the writers? I don't know who comes up with, I guess I'm where you were. Like, is it the writers that do this? Or is it like the director? But like just the team, the behind the scenes people, like you said.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. Like shout out to you guys, because they did so well at visualizing it. It made me realize just like, oh wow, she's really going through it. Cause like I could not imagine being somewhere and then just all of a sudden like everything shuts down and you're just like, oh, okay. So yeah, I think they did really good with that. Um well, another scene that I really liked was when all the fishermen, or I don't know if it was all the fishermen or just people that had boats, um when they all shone their lights so that Chunhui's granddaughter Unji could see the 100 moons that her dad told her about, so that she could wish for him to get better. I was just like, oh, that was so sweet, because I was like, what are these 100 moons? What is she talking about? And I was like, why are they calling to get boats to come out? I was like, are they trying to take them out to the sea so they can see a moon? Like, what's happening? And then when they finally got to the hill, I was like, those are the moons. It's all the boats lit up at night. I was like, oh, I love it. I love it. I thought it was so sweet. And then like her dad actually recovered. So like I know that made her happy. I was a little worried there because I really thought he was gonna die, but I'm really happy he survived. um
Me too.
so yeah. And then the final, like my last favorite scene was the end competition where like the series, they just went through like everyone's like story, like just in case you forgot, like everyone's story, you got to say like, oh yeah, that happened, oh yeah, this happened, oh wow, look how far they came, like you saw all these. And I feel like it ended on a good note, and I love the message at the end that said, there is one thing that we must remember in our lifetime: we weren't born into this world to suffer or feel miserable. We were born to be happy. And I feel like that whole thing really summed up the entire show in the message of what they were trying to get to everyone. Because everyone, yeah, they went through some tough times, but at the end you saw them laughing and giggling with everyone and just having a good time at the competition. Everyone just looked so happy and everything was just like resolved. Also, I want to say, also I like how this competition, Sona showed up, and like everybody was like looking at her like, what, who is she? Who introduced us to her?
That was cute. He was
It's so,
cheesing.
yeah, it was so cute. And they gave her a uniform. They're like, okay, you're gonna cheer with us. Let's go. And so I thought that was so cute. So yeah, those are all my little favorite scenes.
Um, I just wanted to add to like the last scene. I thought it was so funny
Mm-hmm.
when I think Hyunkwi, she had just won from like wrestling. And like in one of, and I can't remember what his name was, but the guy that she I guess was supposed to marry like a long time ago, but they didn't end up getting married. Young Youngju's father, he
Yeah.
started going up there to hug her, and she would swat him away. And she just went to the banker guy Hansu and like wanted him to like pick her up to celebrate. I was like, girl, even after all this time. That was hilarious. I
That
was
was
like,
so
yeah,
funny.
okay. So she still has some sort of attraction to him. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
okay, understandable, I guess. Um, and I just wanted to add in that I also agree about the visualization of depression. That was the first time I had seen depression being expressed in like a visual way too, I guess. Because like you said, people will normally just be like, you know, this person has depression, but you I feel like if you've never gone through that, you don't really know, or if you think you haven't gone through that, like you don't really know exactly that what it really means and what it's like. And yeah, to see everything like literally go black for her,
Mm-hmm.
even in the daytime, or to see like her clothes like being soaked or whatever. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was her clothes just would get soaked at times. Just like wow, like I can't imagine what that was must be like. And she had said that she's felt that way since her dad had died by suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's kind of, it was all sad. But like you said, I don't know, kudos to the backup team, the team behind those visuals, out of who they what they're called. But that was amazing. And I think that was the point where I was like, okay, I really like this show. Like this, I knew when I saw that her story, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be something different. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
going to be one of probably the best dramas that I probably will ever see. Um. Anyways, yeah, that's all I was gonna add. Okay, so worst scenes. So now we're gonna get into the scenes that we didn't really like. I don't know, worst scenes make it sound so bad, but really it's just scenes that we didn't really like, or that didn't really. Oh, yeah, I guess scenes we just didn't like. I guess. For me, it was I have a few. Um, the first one was when Jungkook was talking about her struggles with her sister, knowing that her sister was right outside the house and could hear everything she was saying, and you knew she could hear her because she started like cheering up herself. Like I don't know, I just thought that part was like pretty heartbreaking because it's like she really felt, because it's like I think this was the, I don't know if it was the first time, but at this point like you could see that not only did Jungkook feel burdened, but you could tell that her sister knew that she felt burdened. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that was just really sad to me because I felt like, I guess again, like she's not, I mean she's not her child, but it felt kind of um like if a child figured out that their mother doesn't, I don't know, that their mother feels burdened with having them and that they wish that they never had them. I don't know, it just kind of felt, I kind of got those vibes when I got to that scene. So that part was kind of difficult. Um Also another scene that was kind of uncomfortable for me was when Hansu was having that dilemma in the hotel about whether or not to sleep with Yuni. So he basically rekindled his relationship with her in order to get money for his daughter's golf lessons. And so that part was really kind of uncomfortable because it's
Yeah.
like she's over here thinking, you know, he's separated, he really likes her, and this is like her moment, and they're really gonna be together, they're gonna be a couple. And then he's in the other bathroom of in the bathroom of his hotel room, I guess, and just like trying to decide like, am I gonna go through with this? Am I gonna tell her the truth? And da da da. And that whole situation just felt like really uncomfortable and really like, and I guess it was meant to feel that way, especially
Mm-hmm.
when she figured out like, oh no, he's lying to me, after she saw the pictures of him and his family, and like they're not separated at all. They're actually, I mean, they're not in the best, like they're not, you know, in the best what's the word? They're not, you know, they're not in the best circumstances or situations or whatever, but they're not separated. So I don't know, but when he came in and and after she had figured out what was going on and they were just sitting on the couch together, I was just sitting there like, this is awkward. This is so awkward. Like
Mm-hmm.
what's gonna happen? So anyways, yeah, so I think that just made me uncomfortable. Their whole trip kind of made me uncomfortable because we know as viewers that his intentions for going on that trip with her were not pure from the beginning. And so yeah, I didn't like that. Um and oh, and then the third one that I had was when Minsona had jumped into the water.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my god, did she just kill herself? I don't know. That was just that was yeah, that was a lot. It was very emotional. But you know, we later found out that, you know, she's okay. Well, at least, you know, she didn't she's not, dead. So that was good. But when she heard the act of her doing it, it was just like, wow, like she really like doesn't want to live. Um, which is really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Because she has a whole child. And I feel like her, okay, I'm not gonna go into her story. But like, I mean, okay, well, long story short, what I was gonna say. I just felt like if she had done that, it would have been kind of like repeating a cycle that she experienced with her dad, and so I didn't think that was fair to her son. But I guess people in her situation, maybe they think, I don't know. I was thinking maybe she was just thinking about the present, but I felt like it was kind of selfish. I don't know if that's bad to say, but I felt like her making that decision in that moment was kind of selfish because she has a son who still loves her. So I'm glad she was okay after jumping into the water. But that whole scene was just like, I wish it didn't happen, but it did. And yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Also, kind of what you mentioned about her jumping, even Donsuk, I think he even mentioned that. He was like, "Do you want your son to go through the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing that you went through?" And it's just like, oh. But I feel like okay, hold on. I'm about to get into her for a second. But I feel like he was the person that she needed to be with all along because her husband, well, I guess her ex-husband by that
Hmm.
point, by that point, because I think they got a divorce. It just
Hmm.
felt like he gave up on her too. Where I feel like in that situation, well, okay, I feel like he was just like, "Oh, you need to go get help. If you're not gonna get help, I don't want to stay here. Like, you need to go get help." Where I feel like he never took the opportunity to like help her in a way. It was just more so like just do it on your own. When it's just like, well, if you see that she's struggling, maybe help her. And maybe he was just a little nice about it, or he had been with her so long that he was just like over trying to help her. But I'm just really happy that she came in contact with Dong Suk again because he really pulled her out of it. Well, not out of it because she was still struggling with it, but he definitely gave her like a different perception on what she was struggling with, and that she could actually I guess live with it, but just know like a proper way to manage it with help as well, and to take like the right steps. So, yep. That's all I wanted to say about that.
I just I wonder if it's because Dongseok also had issues too, and so maybe she could. I agree that she should have probably been with him from the beginning. I guess is what I was should have prefaced that by saying. But because I wonder if it's because he also had his own issues that he was trying to overcome too, and I feel like he did kind of understand her a bit more. I feel like her husband, because I just felt like the way her husband seemed, ex-husband, I guess, seemed was like he wanted, which was, it was always strange to me that he knew she had depression when they first got together
Hmm.
and he still wanted to be with her. But like you said, it seemed like he just kind of was over it because I feel like he had wanted like a perfect kind of life. I don't know, the way that he seemed, he just seemed like, both of my parents are healthy and da 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 da, and they're married, and so they can take care of the son. And I'm gonna go off to work for 8 hours, and I don't know. It seemed like he had wanted like a perfect like typical life, and she wasn't able to give that to him, and he started like, and that's probably when he started like being over it. Whereas with Dongseok, his whole like life is kind of unconventional. Like I don't know, like the man drives around on a truck full of random goods all day. Like I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of an unconventional occupation, and they just seem like a better fit.
Yeah.
Um, anyways, that's all.
And he didn't care. He just really did not care about anybody else. He's like, I'm gonna believe what I want to believe. I'm gonna say what I want to say.
Yeah, her husband seemed like her ex-husband. I keep saying her husband,
I know.
but her he seemed like the type that cared what people thought.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, okay. So, what scenes did you you put some things that you not like or yeah.
So I would say that like these are scenes that I didn't like or like were worse scenes, but ones that really made me feel like some sort of way, but not in like a positive way. Um, but the first one was when Komiran slapped Eunhui while she was at the park fighting Youngbo's the bank worker's wife. Like, I don't know. Like what was she slapping her for? I think that's where I was. Like, I understand that I think at that point she had read her journal, and she had like really asked her like, oh, is there something that I didn't do? And Onhui wouldn't say anything. So I don't know if she was frustrated about it, but like, how you gonna slap your best friend? That's messed up. And truly and honestly, their whole story just kind of made me slightly uncomfortable because like Unhui always had to like walk on eggshells kind of when she was with her, or just like be okay with being spoken down to, which is like so different from up until that point what we saw her as after, like, the whole thing with um the guy that had the golf child. I can't remember his name.
Handsome.
That was a golfer. Um, but they seem like, I don't know. She just seems so like strong. Like she just seems so strong, and just like she wouldn't let people walk all over her. But I guess it's just because of their childhood, and you see their whole story anyways, and so you can kind of see how she ended up being that kind of person with her. But I don't know, that their whole story was just like, I wish just talk. Like, I think that's the issue. She was just too afraid to like tell her bad things. She only wants to tell her good things. But yeah, that was just a whole thing. So that was one that like just made me feel some type of way. And the second one that really stood out that made me uncomfortable was when we find out why. Well, I don't know if it made me uncomfortable. It just made me really sad. But when we found out why Ingwan and Hoshik stopped being best friends, and it was because Ingwan called Hoshik dirty a dirt poor loser in front of Youngju. Youngju, my bad. And it's so crazy because like to Ingon, I know that definitely was just like something small that he just kind of like said in passing. He probably forgot all about it, but like it really stuck with Hoshik, and it was just like, dang, like that's why you guys aren't friends anymore. And but when he explained it, he was just like, like you're my best friend. Like you were the person that like he depended on he was the person that he depended on him the most. Like they were like tight. Like when you see their whole story about how like they've saved each other in multiple situations, they had each other's back. You even see the part which I thought was so cute where they were like, oh, when our kids get older we need to be in-laws, but then like they ended up being in-laws, and I thought that was, I was like, oh my god. But that part was just really sad to me because it's like that's what happened. Like just because you wanted to be like, even though he was just sick and tired of him gambling away everything, but like he just like did that in front of his child, and I was just like, oh, that's so sad. So yeah, that's the second one. Okay, my last one, the very last one, is when Younguk abandoned her sister Younghui when they were little, like abandoned her on the train. And like I felt so bad. In that moment, I was like, oh my God, did she just like leave her there? And then when her sister finally realized that Younguk left her, I was like, oh my God, that's so sad. Like, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna live with me? Luckily, she went back and got her because she felt bad. But still, and I was just and I was just thinking that like I understand how she must have felt, but like to abandon her sister like that is just crazy. But later in the show, I think this is why this all really got me, because later in the show, but you know what, Melissa, I agree with you. I'm just gonna say this because their whole relationship really had me in like heartstrings because because with later on when because Younguk thought like homegirl forgot about it. Like, she forgot about the whole thing, but she said she remembers it all. She was like, "You abandoned me that day. You left me, didn't you?" And then she's like, "Oh, she remembers. She remembers more than I thought she does." And I was just like, "Oh my God." I was like, she must feel horrible. She must feel so bad to think all these things that she, like all the bad things that she did. I know she tried to cover it up by doing like probably nice things for her whenever they were together, but just to think that her sister all these years we're sitting here thinking about all the bad things that happened. It was just like, and the guilt that her older sister must have felt by like being a burden to her. And then like Oh, it was just a lot. I don't know, I'm going through it, right? But it was just like I just hated it because like it's just sad. So
Yeah.
so that's those were like my worst scenes. I kind of low key feel like we should have did the worst scenes before our favorite scenes because it's kind of sad, but it's okay. At the end of the day, their relationship was good. You know, I think she even came back for the competition at the end,
Yep.
and they were really. And I think part of their relationship really became stronger because of Youngjun, the captain. Like I feel like he was like there to help and like pull them together and say like, you know, it's okay, you guys can work through this, like you guys can live your lives and be cool and you guys won't be a burden on each other. So yeah.
And I just want to add, like, also, like, and I think him always like reassuring Youngok that, you know, he's still gonna be there for her
Mm-hmm.
or with her, because I think that's something that she was really like anxious about the whole time when her sister was there. And Jongjun, is that how you say Jongjun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the whole time that her sister was there, I think she was anxious that Jongjun was gonna like get tired of her sister, or like see how much of a burden she actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And so him like being nice to her and like continually reassuring Youngok that, you know, it doesn't really matter to me about your sister or whatever. I think that helped ease her anxiousness also, because she had mentioned that like pretty much every other guy that she was with
Mm-hmm.
left her because of her sister. So, which is really crappy. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in. Like, I thought that her back to like his reassurances part. Um, there's something else I was gonna say. Okay, well, I'll say it when we're at the end. But so, the last part of the reviews, we're gonna talk about the OST for the drama. So for me, you know, I felt like there were great songs throughout the series. But one of my favorites was "With You," by Ha Sungwoon and Jimin of BTS. But you know, it's not just because Jimin is in the song. You know, I think it generally is just a really great song, and I thought it was the perfect backdrop to Sunna's story lines, her storyline. Just felt like it's a very like, and honestly, when I first heard it, I didn't even know like who was on the story, who was part of the song. I guess I thought it was a really pretty song because it's just very sweeping and like dramatic and kind of sad, and I feel like it matched because I think the first time that we heard the song was when we first saw the visualization of Sona's depression, and so like it just all came together for me. I don't know. So it's a great song, but there's a couple other songs in the soundtrack that I thought were really good. There's just, yeah, great songs. What about you?
Yeah, I really like this OST. It's one of my favorite ones. We even purchased the actual like packaged album for it, and so I was really happy because I agree with you. With You is like an amazing song, and I like how not only was it played in Sona, but I think it was also played in Youngok and Jungju's relationship. But I feel like it just played when like there was like a really sweet romantical moment
Mm.
happening. I don't know why I said romantical, but
I
like
don't either. That's okay.
but
Romantic.
like you guys understand, right? But it's just really pretty. I just feel like the I don't know, what are they, sound tech sound people? Whoever chose the soundtrack and when to play what song when did very good. Again, the background people, you kudos to you again because it
We
was
don't
just
know your
so
names, but
was so good because like the song just added, like you knew when you heard a certain song you were like, oh, this is gonna be this kind, oh, this is gonna be so good. And with okay, when I was talking about we purchased the album, I was a little upset that Quando was not on there, but because like I feel like that was also played at a couple pivotal moments within
Mm-hmm.
the series, but it could just be like a copyright thing, because like it's technically like not their song. I mean, I don't know how many other songs are from other people, but it's an old song basically. And a lot of people have done like different renditions of it. So yeah, that all being said, I think not only was the OST, but the package that we got beautiful and amazing, and I loved it all. So yeah, that's all I had to say about the OST. Is there? Well, I mean, okay, wait. There's one thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention before. Um, before we end the episode, I just wanted to say that one of my other favorite scenes was when Youngo met Jungjun's parents, because like
Mm-hmm.
at first she was like, they don't like me, like maybe I should go, like what's, and then like when I think the mom
Mm-hmm.
gave her like a chicken leg or something. It was like something, it was like a piece of food, and she was like, eat up. She was like, I couldn't imagine being in your shoes and how to take care. And I was just like, oh, she does like her. She does accept her. And I was like, oh, and she was like, sit comfortably, because before she was like sitting on her knees, and I was like, oh, and so I was like, oh, they approve. I'm so happy, because that's like one thing she was really worried about. And so yeah, I just want to say that was one of my other favorite scenes. Melissa, do you have anything else to say about anything?
Um, yeah, I meant to say earlier because we had done the favorite scenes first, and then we did the worst scenes second. But also, one scene that I did really like was when Youngju. I think this was before their classmates had uh, uh said that they wanted them to stay in the school. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I think she was walking somewhere. I don't know where she was walking, somewhere under the school or something. Anyway, she was pregnant. She was walking, and she saw Min Sona. And like, and she and their like interaction was so cute because I think
Mm-hmm.
Sona had like asked her if she could like touch her belly, and it was just the first time that someone like had said something positive about her pregnancy. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it just helped reaffirm that what she was doing, that the decision that she was making about being pregnant and keeping the baby was like the right decision or a good decision. Because she didn't say anything bad when she touched the belly. She was like, oh, congratulations, or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, she had said. But anyways, I just thought that was really nice because that was like the first positive experience. I was like, yeah, it's going to be okay. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, wait. One more thing that I thought was funny, when she was actually having a baby, when the two dads were sitting outside
Oh
crying,
my God.
and when we got there, and she was like, "What's happening? Is something what?" And they're like, and then I can't remember what they said. I don't know if she's like, "Oh, they're having the baby," or like she's experiencing contractions, or she's in pain or something.
Yeah, they were saying she was in pain.
Okay. And she was like, that's what you guys are here crying about? She's like,
Yeah.
I was about to have a heart attack. I thought something bad happened to her. Because when I saw them, I was like, oh my God, what
Did she
happened?
die?
Yeah, like what's going on? Did the baby not make it? Like what's, oh my gosh. And then they're just like, she's in so much pain. I'm just like, oh my God, man. Oh my God.
And then her boyfriend, or I guess at that point he was her husband, because at some point
Mm-hmm.
we didn't even see the wedding. This
No.
the next episode they're like, oh yeah, they're married.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay. He wasn't even saying like, oh, let's just get a C-section. You're in so much pain. I'm like, y'all are such wimps.
I thought I was so cute though.
Oh boy.
Okay.
They were being so dramatic when they were taking her away to the delivery room. I
Yeah.
was like, you would think she's about to, I mean, to be fair, I guess that is a concern, I guess, whenever, especially since she was so young.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there is always going to be some risk to pregnancies, but like the way they made it seem, it was like she was like literally on her deathbed, and like
Mm-hmm.
if she didn't have the surgery, she was going to die.
Yeah.
I'm like, women go through this every day.
Yeah.
That was hilarious though.
Okay, wait. One more thing. One more thing, and then I'm done. But it's also about this hospital scene, because I thought it was just like a cute little pivotal moment where like her dad couldn't go back with her, but her husband was going. And so I was like, oh, it's like a passing of responsibility. And he has to let
Mm,
his little girl go. And it's just like, because you could see how close they were. Like sometimes, they argued or
yeah,
whatever. And he was upset. But you knew at the end of the day, her dad had her back. He
yeah,
was going to be there for her no matter what. Even though he was trying to play tough. But we all knew he was going to play tough with her all the whole time.
of
But I don't
course.
know. I just felt like that was just like a cute little pivotal moment where it's just like he had to let go, and now was his like the dad's time, not the her dad, but what was
The
his name?
baby's father,
Yeah, the baby's father. What was his name though?
Hyun.
Yes, yes. Um, when Hyun he went in and he was able to move on and be the person that's supposed to be there for her and take care of her, and he quit school for this girl and was just gonna go get um his GED. Wasn't he the top student and then she was wait, or was it the other way
She
around?
was the top student. He was like the second.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like he's super smart, and for him to just like give it up like that, he's just like, yeah, whatever she needs, she gets. And she's just like, and I loved her because she was still determined. She was like, I can go to college and I can
Yeah,
be a mom.
yeah.
Like I can do it all. Like I'm Wonder Woman, basically.
She had it all planned out. But this knowing that she's the top student, I mean, like
Mhm.
that's kind of expected.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I think that's all I had to say.
it basically gave them the whole series.
I mean, just their part. I mean, there's a lot of other parts we could have talked about as well. But I just feel like their story. I mean, I did mention that like their story was one of my favorites, but their story just really like sticks with you. It could just because they're like so young, and like to see them go through so much in that moment, like just like But yes, do you have anything else to say about anything that we talked about? J Hope, Sumi, our blues, like anything.
Nope, I don't have anything more to say.
Okay, well, people listening, thank you for listening through this. We have actually come to the end of the episode. We have no more to add. But we would love to know what did you think about J Hope and Sumi's singles that came out? How do you feel about the K drama Art Blues? Let us know your answers. You can add us on Instagram and Twitter at _AM podcast. The links are always in the description. If you like this episode, please subscribe and rate us. Thank you for joining us for this episode. We hope you stay safe and we will talk to you next time.